And with that, let's introduce. I'd like to call him friend of the show now, Davey Jackson. What's going on, bud, man? How you doing?
What's up, man?
Thanks for coming. Our show's a nightmare.
I guarantee it's hotter in Texas, and I've only thought about jumping off my balcony twice.
Oh, well, that's pretty good then.
You guys have no humidity. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that's
what I'm talking about, dude. It is awful out here.
I
promise you it's worse than
Florida? Then Florida?
Yeah, come visit the Devil's Taint sometimes.
Yeah.
See how you like it.
He's going to be down here
next week.
Oh, yeah? Where? What are we?
Yeah.
Where
I told you he's going to be in Tampa.
So we're doing
yeah, we're
strip club capital of the world,
doing
baby.
a little something. Oh, trust me, I know.
Mersh used to be the manager of a many.
And Tampa, Tampa was the city I worked at a lot too.
Yeah. Dude, thanks for coming on. We wanted you back on as ASAP because number one, everybody fucking loved you.
And number two, we're too lazy to prep for the show.
And we're too
we like
lazy
to have
to
guests
prep.
on. It's easier. Bring him on. He's funny. He'll do the heavy lifting.
We want to hear about your trauma for a while, not ours. You know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah,
I mean, we're all trying to kill ourselves. What's going on?
Exactly.
Look, either slowly with alcohol or fast with a bunch of other ways.
That's why we need to bring in guests once in a while, because like, we get it, Mersh. You were molested. You're a drunk. We get it. You're not a nice person. All right, bring somebody else on.
And I have
talk about cults.
I have an undiagnosed personality disorder. It
There you
doesn't
go.
matter. I mean, we're all fucked up.
I mean, everyone's diagnosed it.
Isn't that the hottest thing? Like self-diagnosed anything, pretty much?
Yo, every bitch who's quirky says they're autistic now. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. And every time they break up with you, it's because you were a narcissist. No, it's like you cheated with me.
Yeah. I'm an 80.
It turns out I love autistic girls. It's like my favorite thing.
They're the best. We've been watching Autistic Dating on our paywall
Love
shows.
on the Spectrum. Highly on Netflix.
Autistic people trying to find love, and it's like I've come to find that, like, if you can find like an attractive autistic woman, it's perfect for me. Because I like to just be kind of alone. Like, I like to stay to myself. Like, I don't really like to talk too much. It would be perfect. You just hand her a Nintendo DS. She's good to go.
Or a toy train, and they organize all your stuff for you too.
Like a lot. Yeah. I mean, they get really anxious if you miss a reservation, though. You better be there on time. Yeah. They will fucking lose their minds.
Like, if I fuck them and then I want to go play video games, I just go, by the way, I bought you a new anime. And then they'll leave you alone. They're all happy. They go in a different room.
Yeah, I throw
autistic girls. It's a win-win for everybody. OCD is a little bit different. I have dated an OCD girl as well, like legitimately OCD, and that was actually kind of annoying.
Yeah, because you had to like turn the doorknob 50 times before you left and stuff. It's probably really.
It was the light switches, dude. The light switches. It was like 50 times.
Was she a neat freak too?
No, not at all. It was really.
Oh, so it's not even the good OCD. Doors. It's not even the good OCD.
No, that's not even real OCD. Like the people that are just super organized, that's autism.
Right.
Different.
Or they're
different.
Or I call them Asians, but I mean, it's that's the way I differentiate them.
Like yourself a tiger mom? Okay.
Oh, listen, let me tell you something. Asian women either are really hot and then they just turn into like Chinese restaurant workers immediately. There's no middle ground. Like they just hit the wall, and then they look like they're training what's her face in Kill Bill. Anyway, look, that's not what this is about.
Royce's wife has the opposite OCD, where everything's like too clean,
spotless. And
where
like,
you'll be like, "Where's my cell phone?" And she'll be like, "Oh, you left it on the coffee table, so I put it away in a storage unit across town."
I'm like, wait, what?
Because you keep leaving it laying all over the house. You're like, "It's my phone."
I was decluttering.
It's not clutter. It's my phone. I sold it. You only used it 50 times last week.
It turns out that none of your stuff sparks joy. Yeah. What? Why is it my stuff?
Where's my car? I parked it down the street. It was cluttering up the driveway.
It's a driveway.
For the cars.
But look, we had you on last time, and this is the same problem that happened last time. You're fun to hang out with.
Sorry.
And we were talking about, bro, where we left off, because we went through the, for those that missed it, the whole interview is clipped on our YouTube clip channel. You go watch it there, and it's on Rumble as well. But for those that don't know, quick catch up, you were in the best way, now everyone knows it, but the Shiny Happy People cult, the Duggar family cult, and you basically got kicked out because you were a cocksmith, if I remember correctly. You couldn't stop fucking, and but honestly, all that shit, dude. After the interview, I even went on. There's so much shit on fucking YouTube about it, like people that were in it. It's wild, and it's like a lot of people talk about like cults, and a lot of people think it's like Heaven's Gate. I'm like, yeah, I mean that is a cult. That was a cult, but at least, but this is happening now, and it's wild to me. So last we left off was you escaping it. How did that happen?
Yeah, so but really, my escape from the cult was kind of anticlimactic. I just told my parents, like, "Hey, I'm done with this stuff. I'm not doing it anymore." I got back from Indianapolis, so that was the compound that I was at for
Right.
basically rehabilitation. I got kicked out of that by Bill Gothard. So I had like a sit down meeting with Bill Gothard, and he said, "Hey, you got to go," basically. So what happened there was a director, one of the leadership guys at the compound that I was at, and he had two very attractive daughters, and I was pretty upset about my girlfriend. I thought my girlfriend had abandoned me because they were intercepting all my mail. And this
Whoa,
this
hold on.
guy's
Sorry,
two
I don't
daughters.
think. I just so.
But
I
that's
don't,
illegal.
Yeah, I don't think so. We didn't mean they were intercepting your mail.
Yeah.
So they were just
Yeah. So
they were just grabbing it.
anything that came through. So I told the girl that I had been dating that I got in trouble for where I was going, the address, so she could send me correspondence or whatever. And apparently she sent me a bunch of letters, and they intercepted all of them and sent them to my parents instead. So I don't know if that's how they got around the federal law there, because you're right. I mean, if you open someone else's mail, that's a federal crime.
Right.
But yeah, I guess they sent them to my parents or something. I thought she just abandoned me, and so that kind of added insult to injury for me. So I was already upset. This leadership guy at the compound had his two hot daughters, and so I decided to kind of take out my anger on them, and that's what I ultimately got in trouble for.
Yeah, I mean,
But they didn't know. They didn't have proof.
Right.
No one could prove anything. They just had suspicions because they'd caught us fraternizing.
It's wild when you could even see when you're saying it now, like they didn't have proof. Like it does feel like you were in a mini government, like a mini tribunal, a little trial that you had to go through. Like it didn't matter. It's kind of like how like reservations have their own police, like where they do their own thing. Like Indian reservations have their own police. They handle all their stuff internally. It kind of feels like that. And also watching the documentary, you see they cover up a lot of shit for other people if you're high enough. You get away with not literally murder, but you get away with a lot of shit. Yeah.
I mean, close to it. Yeah. I mean, they covered up all kinds of different sex scandals. The Bill Gothard, that's why he was, eventually taken out, was for grooming and inappropriate relationships with a lot of young women and underage girls as well. It very much there was like a hierarchy there. So originally I got in trouble with the guy who led the rehabilitation program. This was a guy, his name was Brandon McDonald, and here's a really super fun factoid that I found out literally just last week. So this guy was an absolute tyrant. He had a chip on his shoulder. He had gone through the paramilitary program, I believe, and the guy was an absolute asshole. He was the one that originally interrogated me. He was the one intercepting the mail. He's the one that decided to send me to solitary confinement. I found out last week that after many years in the program, he finally came out of the closet. He was a gay dude the whole time. That's why he was so angry. He was living this crazy lie.
I'd be so mad if I was gay.
What's that?
I said I'd be so mad if I was gay.
What are you talking about, dude? I'd be so happy.
If
I was gay, dude, half my problems gone.
Yeah, but if you were gay, you might still be in there because you wouldn't be such a cuck and cocksmith. That's a good
point.
Besides,
I would have had to gone to a different kind of camp.
Yeah, besides
the Mike Pence one, where they shock you.
Listen, my dick got me into nothing but trouble in my younger years, right? But I got it. Like, how old are you?
39.
Oh, you're our age.
So yeah. Don't worry. Give it a couple of years. It'll start calming down.
So how long have you been out? Like total, like since you left, how long have you been out?
So I got out when I was 18, and that's kind of when I gave my parents the ultimatum, like, hey, I'm done with this cult stuff. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done with this whole thing. I'm gonna go ahead and do my own thing now. And they were actually like pretty cool with it, and they left the cult as well about a year afterwards.
That's
they'd already
good.
kind of started seeing like, hey, there's some weird stuff going on here.
So how was it transitioning to normal life,
dude? That was so it was like a out of the frying pan into the fire thing for me. Not everyone takes the path that I did, but I mean, I'd been through some traumatic stuff, but I quickly discovered drugs after I got out of the cult. I was already like into alcohol and kind of experimenting with drugs at that point, but after I was fully out and started going to college, I mean, I went into it like balls deep into substance abuse. So I would say for like the first 3 years or so after I got out of the cult, it was still very recreational. But around the time I hit like 21, 22, I was like, I was into like full blown addiction at that point. And it got, I mean, it was dark. And the first, this always like shocks people because everyone says that, you know, plant-based drugs, psychedelics, those are like your gateways, right? Not for me. My first drug, the first drug I ever did was blow. The very first drug. Yeah. And so
hopping in the deep end.
Yeah, you went right in, dude. Huh?
Without the floaties, bro, just throw me in.
No, you want a joint? No, thanks. Only cocaine for me.
No, I'm an adult.
Thank you.
I've been through some things. How about you bust out that white powdery substance? Let's get real, guys.
Also, I love how nowadays they'll be like, "Don't touch weed, kids. It's a gateway drug," and they'll be like, "But you're all on pharmaceutical amphetamines."
Yeah, they're all snorting Adderall.
But weed's the gateway, and it's like they're 6. You're giving them meth. I'm pretty sure they're going to be chasing some dopamine rushes when they're older. Christ.
Dude, when I finally got sober, I wasn't even doing street drugs anymore, which is really bad. I did everything so backwards. I started with street drugs and then ended up on pharmaceuticals.
Jesus.
And Adderall, dude, I was doing like, at one point I was doing like 250 milligrams of Adderall a day. Like I was out of control.
That's wild.
What were you, a hummingbird?
Dude, I was living in a fever dream. My reality was a fever dream.
Holy
it was
shit,
crazy.
Dude.
I do have to agree, though, that, you know, and I've observed it just like when I went to private school for a couple of years, right? And I just went to a Christian private school. But it wasn't a cult, but it was a very tight-knit community, and everybody kind of hung around each other. And it's not like, you know, you had neighbor friends, but for the most part, a lot of the get-togethers were in the church. And when you break away from that, I went to public school, and then I got kind of gradually you know, aged into like, well, let's try a little, smoke a cigarette behind the school. And then it was like, yeah, I'll drink like 2 beers. Whoa. And then it's like, we'll smoke a little weed. And I got eased into it. So I didn't have as crazy of a fucking early life. Man, the ones that stayed in that private school all the way to 12th grade and then went to college, I heard fucking horror stories of the chicks becoming just the biggest fucking whores on the planet, drugs and this and that. I'm flunking out. I'm like, yeah, you can't just throw them into the game like that. It's a little rough.
Oh, dude, those private school rich kids, man. Like, so I lived up in the Northeast for a little while, up near Massachusetts and New York, and there was a little private school, and this is when I was still being homeschooled at the time, and my mom decided to enroll us in the choir program there. And that was like one of my early exposures to normal people. Dude, those kids were insane. It was a private boarding school, basically you know, like what do they call it? Like a funnel schooled into the Ivy Leagues.
Right.
And all those kids came from old money and all this, and they were nuts. I mean, the amount of drugs those kids did was insane.
Now.
Oh yeah, I remember that school, right? And Matt Damon was mean to the Jewish kid.
Oh yeah,
that's
what was that one?
That one.
Brendan Fraser was there, I believe.
So, yes.
He played a Jewish guy.
He wasn't. Look, Jewish. It's been a long time since I went to that school. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
It's been a long time since I was a kid.
So
you went from like cult, then plunged into drugs. So that's obviously an adjustment, and then you come out of that fucking side of things. How did you adjust to becoming boring?
Yeah, that's been the hardest part, honestly. Like, becoming a total pussy has really been the most traumatizing.
I'm in bed by 11, and I drink tea now. What's that about?
I shotgun Red Bulls and chain smoke cigarettes. That's kind of my thing now.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie. I was so proud of how I had everybody just leaning in, going, "Wow, he's about to ask."
He's about to ask a deep question,
yeah,
and then
I had everybody. On
you
that
mean
one.
boring?
I had everyone on that one.
So wait, so you got clean. You went to rehab, I'm assuming.
No, dude.
Ooh, raw dog.
Actually, I sent my ex-fiance to rehab, got her into a rehabilitation program because clearly, you know, towards the end of my addiction, I'd found this girl. She was going to be my saving grace, right?
Right.
But she was also, when I met her, she was on methadone. I didn't know it, but I was still, you know, running and gunning. And she finally admitted to me, like, "Oh, by the way, I'm on methadone." And I was like, "Great, that means we can really party together." And so we just went down the rabbit hole. She went to rehab. I actually took her to rehab, completely loaded, which is insane. But yeah, so. Sorry?
He said based.
No, based. Honestly, bro, is pretty mid.
It's pretty cool.
So she ended up getting kicked out of rehab though because she had brought some pills in with her.
Yeah, rehab hates when you do that. Rehabs hate when you. Rehabs hate when not only do you smuggle drugs in for your own use,
Rehab's so
proceed to hand them out to everybody else and get everybody else to rehab.
And you're like, look, I was homeschooled. They told me to bring some for everybody. Okay, what do you want from me?
I'm just trying to share. I'm trying to. Yeah, dude,
I like how this person is
rehab.
I like how she's like, well-meaning, but doing the worst possible thing you could possibly do in a rehab.
She literally took out the entire detox center that she was in. Dude. It was insane.
It's like a zombie movie.
Fucking staff getting their hours cut.
It's hilarious now.
No. Of course, back then, of course, it wasn't. Obviously. But looking back, yeah.
It's crazy. And I mean, you know how she smuggled him in.
Of course.
You know?
I mean, yes. Of course.
No, how? How'd she do it?
Shut up, Virgie. Shut up, Virgie.
Let me guess. She paid off a guard?
No, I don't think so. I don't think. I like to
suck it in through a window.
Well,
I'm gonna go film canister with a little foil over it and pop that up in your prison pocket, and you're good to go, baby.
So he's like, yeah. So I was in this cult, right? This weird cult, and then I get into drugs. Then I found this thing called Narcanon. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. These wonderful people, Scientologists, run it, and that's how you're like, no. Stay on drugs.
From one
Stay on
cult
drugs.
to another. So I do like that you shut up their hammer like, look, you have a problem. You need. I believe that's called, the entertainment calls it the lover boy method. The lover boy method.
I've been there. Like I've had women that were so out of control in my life that I've been like coked out of my face and drunk and giving them a speech about how they need to get it together.
So you gotta clean this up. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, you're making us look really bad. I'm a functioning addict, and you're fucking spinning.
Gaslighting isn't real. You're just crazy.
Yeah, working at a strip club, telling her you're gonna get us both fired.
So you said it wasn't rehab for you. How did you clean up?
No, so I actually, when she got kicked out of rehab, I went to go find her. So I drove like an hour and a half to go find her, and when I decided that I was going to go look for her, I knew I've got to have all my faculties about me, right? So I decided not to take any pills, drink it all. I was just going to go over there and really focus on finding her, which was a huge, well, I mean, it really was a huge mistake. I don't recommend anyone do this. So I actually did end up finding her, but then she basically turned me down, said, I don't want to go with you. You need to forget about me. Just leave me alone. Go home. So I did. But by the time I got back to my place, it had been 24 hours since I'd had anything in my system, which my body was not used to, not ready for. So I pulled into my driveway at my house and had a seizure in the car.
Whoa.
Like that was my detox. After I had that seizure, I kind of had to make some hard decisions at that point, but I ended up deciding I gotta do something different. This is crazy. I can't keep going like this. And so I detoxed on my sofa. Like a couple friends came over, helped me out through that process. Cause I mean, dude, I was so when I got sober, I was drinking at least a bottle of whiskey pretty much every night. I was doing a ton of Adderall, a ton of OxyContin, and a ton of Xanax. I mean, unsafe amounts, right? So the detox itself, the first week was the worst. And then after that, it kind of like, honestly, the alcohol part of the detox was the worst, I would say. The opioid detox, that sucked a lot, but from a physical perspective, it just felt like I had a really, really severe case of the flu. Mm-hmm. Like that's kind of what it felt.
I went through
the alcohol
same.
Detox was.
Brutal. And it was like pills, you said, right? You weren't like on Fent or like dope or anything, right? Like
no, I'd gotten off all that. Like I used to do, black tar, brown clown. I used to eat fentanyl lollipops, Dilaudid, like all that fun stuff. Yeah.
Dilaudid's are pretty awesome.
Yes. Dilaudid's my personal favorite of mine.
Our producer Virgie also used to traverse the heroin highway, if you will.
I got into him during the fucking the tail end of the pill mills being open here, and we had because I used to sell coke. And then my buddy started working at this better strip club, and he's like, look, I can get you in there as the main DJ. You're going to make fucking good money again, but you can't sell coke anymore. Like, it's because they already have people selling coke. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get in trouble. I'm like, fine, deal. I made better money anyway. But then I wasn't selling coke anymore, and I'm like, fuck, I was really fiending for coke. So that was when people were just selling, like, they literally had sandwich bags full of Percocets. I mean, everyone, and they weren't pressed, they weren't fake. Everyone just had bags of fucking real Percocets all over the place. And dude, it was so easy to start eating like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 eventually a day of those things. And then all of a sudden they shut down the pill mills and everybody's like, I could get you dope. And I was like, no, I'll just go be sick for 2 months.
I did the opposite. I started on dope and then moved to pills.
Jesus.
Which is so backwards and weird.
You did everything like the opposite way. Like, the first thing I did was coke.
That's what like when I tell my story to people, they're always just like, wait, you did heroin and then you switched to pills? Because usually it's the opposite way because pills are so expensive. But shout out Dr. Arthur Hernandez here in San Antonio. And yes, I will say his full name because that guy is a bastard. I mean, he'll give you as many pills as you want.
I thought you were going to say like he's a good doctor, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that sounds like a shady doctor.
I don't know if you saw Mulaney's new special, but it was fucking hilarious. Mulaney was talking about him going through rehab and going through all that, and he goes, everyone's like, yeah, trust doctors. He goes, not every doctor. And he was like, how I got my drugs? He was hilarious. He goes, I would go to, those doctor rating places, and I'd go sort by lowest. And whoever's at the bottom, they'll give you anything you want. Because he was like, my doctor was a kitchenette like in the Bronx that he was going to someone's house. So it really is easy. You find the right doctor, they'll give you whatever you want. So I guess that's a good point, and it's also a lot less dangerous than going to certain neighborhoods to buy shit too. Depending on what you're doing.
And the insurance companies are they're making thousands, millions of dollars a year off the insurance companies, and meanwhile you're a full blown junkie without even realizing. I mean, they've cracked down on that kind of stuff a lot lately, but still, man, this was like 10, 15 years ago.
Hopefully you got some free Pfizer pens out of it, like fucking pharma reps get at least. That would have been nice, right? At least a shot, some swag.
I would have sold all that stuff
so, to get more drugs. So that detox sounds horrible.
It was brutal.
Especially you, and that's what I got. That's raw dogging it. That's like I'm fucking just doing it.
You're legitimately lucky to be alive.
Yeah, because that's rough.
Dude, yeah,
and
that's why I say
that's wild, bro.
It's insane. And anyone who asks you about this kind of stuff, go to a doctor. Do a medical detox. That is the only way that you should be detoxing. Even if you don't think you're like a bad addict, like you don't have a severe problem like potentially I had. Still go to a doctor, medically detox, because you never know how your body's going to react. I mean, it can kill you real quickly.
So you cleaned up, and then at that point, were you already? Did you go immediately into comedy?
No, dude, no. So I was when I got sober, I was actually playing in a couple different bands. Well, I was trying to play in a couple different bands, but I kept getting kicked out of my own bands because I was just such a mess and a nightmare. So. I at that point, once I got sober, I decided, what, trying to play music right now is probably not the best thing for me. I don't want to put myself back in that environment necessarily. So I just decided to focus on my career at that point. And I was actually like pretty successful in my corporate life. But about actually like right before the pandemic, so about 4 years ago, I decided that corporate America was not for me anymore. I just wasn't enjoying myself. I didn't care about, making the money and climbing the ladder anymore. So that's actually when I started doing comedy, was about 4 years ago.
Yeah, amen, brother. Fucking corporate life fucking sucks.
Dude, it's awful.
This is I mean, we're lucky. We just tell stupid dick jokes for money. It's great, right? Like, I mean, honestly, it's great. But did you find yourself, because you said detoxing out of the drugs, but did you have to mentally detox from being in a cult? I mean, you had to have, right? You had to be like learned behavior. Dude. What was that like?
That I think the easiest way to explain it is how it affected my relationships, right? Because all of my relationships, dating, trying to get married, being engaged to this other girl that was also a junkie, the cult mentality had permeated everything, and I'd never really processed out of it. I just kind of buried it with the drugs and alcohol. So once I got sober, that's when I really had to confront all that stuff and figure out who the hell I really was. And that was the toughest part. That was really the getting sober part, like, yeah, it was painful, it was rough, especially the first like 30, 60, 90 days. But realistically after that, for me, it was really unlearning all this old behavior and trying to figure out who I really was and finding my own voice. Every single relationship with women, and it's not as bad anymore. I would say like the past 5 years, I've really improved on that. But prior to that, dude, every single relationship I would get into would just end up falling apart because, I was either overcorrecting on behavior that I'd learned in the cult, right? Like it was very patriarchal, which, some people have different thoughts about, patriarchal versus matriarchal societies. But ours was like women must submit at all times. Your man is your ultimate authority. And that just... that never worked for me, that kind of mentality. And so I would try to overcorrect and end up, with this real bitchy feminine energy all the time. And women, couldn't really tell if I liked them at all, if I even cared about them. And so it was this constant back and forth with me and women. And finally I started correcting that about 5 years ago. But that's part of that mentality that I brought with me from the cult. That and just this insane guilt complex over really anything that still contradicted the way that I grew up. So, going to church, religious affiliations, a lot of social issues that, I would probably tend to fall more on the liberal side as opposed to the conservative side. I mean, I overcorrected so hard after I got sober. I will never forget, dude. My mom was in town. We went out to dinner and we're sitting there talking about a lot of different like social things that were going, like hot button issues in society, especially like the LGBTQ stuff. And she got really serious and leaned across the table and just in this Applebee's in the middle of boneless buffalo wings goes, "Are you gay? You can tell me. It's okay. I'll still love you." And I was like, "No, Mom."
Can I be honest?
Hey, Mom.
Can I be honest? She probably asked you because you ordered the boneless wings.
Oh, that's what it was.
To be
Yeah,
honest.
that's a good point. Are you
should have
gay?
just ordered the
dude,
regular wings.
Bone-in is way gayer than boneless. What are you talking about?
Boneless wings are just chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
That's like biting into a tender breast.
Oh man,
you eat a
boneless.
bone-in wing. You're just sucking on a penis.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I don't really think of sucking dicks when I'm eating a wing. But
Yeah,
then again, I wasn't in a cult, so I don't know.
When you're eating boneless wings, Davey, it's like eating a bunch of tiny men's testicles. So you're fucked either way.
Yeah,
You're
no matter what
literally
you do.
ripping flesh from the bone. I doubt it would be. You know what I mean?
Tiny testicles. First of all, if I was going to eat testicle, they'd be huge.
Okay.
That's number one.
Hey, David.
I only go for the big balls.
He would eat the kind of testicles you need a knife and a fork for.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
Hey, Dave. Hey, Davey. You can tell us if you're gay. Okay, it's okay. We're gonna love you either way.
Will you still love me?
I will love you. So there you go. There you go. Did you find yours? Because
I'll like him even more because I don't have to compete with him for pussy.
Are you kidding me?
I'll be like, yeah, Davey, come on, let's hang.
This guy is fucking 39 years old, fucking full head of hair, was through a cult. He looks way better than our stupid asses that weren't in a fucking cult.
Yeah, I hate it.
Bro, I'm telling you, it was the heroin that preserved my skin. That's what I tell everyone. It's like the formaldehyde gets in your system, and then you're just young forever.
Oh, so okay, so that's something that I watching a bunch of videos and stuff like that. It's that guilt that probably the guilt is probably the hardest to get over, right? Like the what you're doing logically is not wrong, but you have that trained behavior like, oh, this is wrong, this is bad, this is wrong. That had to be like probably one of the, I mean, outside of the drugs, one of the hardest things to get over.
Well, here's the thing, dude, because the drugs help cover up a lot of that guilt complex, right? Like I'd been told my whole life, premarital sex is wrong. It'll send you to hell. You're supposed to, preserve your virginity for marriage, right? And so when I was on drugs, I didn't have to think about that, right? While I'm slamming some girl. Well, now I'm sober and I'm having to think these old thoughts, right, that were drilled into me, no pun intended, during my childhood, and I don't have a way to deal with it other than trying to disentangle myself from those old ideologies.
And I think going back to what you said about the patriarchal thing, a lot of people think that like this is like a patriarchal thing, like the way women go like, oh my God, a man has a job. That's not the patriarchal stuff. This is what actually what it was. It's, and I know they bring it up in the documentary, but they bring up like, basically you could be you're a certain, the way I describe it is a certain caste, right?
Yeah.
And then women were always the mercy caste, which is like you do whatever the fuck you're told. You all you do is you bear everybody else's burdens and stuff like that. And you know, you have to wear these pantaloons. I don't know what those fucking what those weird pantaloon dresses were or whatever that was.
Culottes.
Culottes.
Is
Yeah.
the word. Yeah, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, it was weird. So I could see that absolutely affecting your relationships too, because you know you want to be like kids always rebel, right? Like that's why there's there's a lot of Zoomers now that are more like conservative because you know their parents were like, yeah, man, you know, climate change or whatever, so you rebel. And I guess that happens too, right? When you leave there, you want to be like, no, I'm not like them. I'm completely different. And overcorrecting is something that I guess a lot of people do.
Oh yeah, dude. And just to your point about that patriarchy stuff, it's so poisonous. It's so incredibly poisonous. And I love how you identified this mercy character quality, right?
Yeah.
That every woman seemed to be assigned. Like they were a mercy servant character quality. That's their personality, right? And then every man was a prophet teacher. And so it just fit perfectly into this mold, right? Where well, men are going to tell you what to do, but that's just their personality, and you should be listening and obeying anyway. And so it has these. I don't know. I just talked to this guy who grew up in the fundamental Latter-day Saints, where they still practice polygamy and all this crazy shit, right? And the stuff that he was saying about how each family had a prophet and all this different stuff that he grew up with, it was just like, yo, that's exactly the same mentality and ideology that the shiny happy people cult had, minus the polygamy, which is really the only cool part.
So there's no fun.
That sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy
Like,
fuck! All the downsides to a cult. At least at Nexium, you were banging people.
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's
at least if you follow the rules, you get like 15 wives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In FLDS, but in IBLP, you follow all the rules. You still only get one wife.
Yeah,
you know?
like
It's
he
still
said,
an
the
assigned
Nexium
marriage.
thing. It's like, oh, I'm giving you all my property, all my earthly possessions, and I'm coming to join this cult. But the upside was at least they go, hey, remember that show Smallville? Right? So hear me out. You want to fuck some of the chicks from that show? And you're like, I mean, I'd like to know which ones first.
yeah.
but
Can I know which ones first, please? And it turns out it's
It's two of the good ones.
Yeah.
Turns out it's two of the better ones. You go, I'm in.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah,
Pretty good deal.
It really. You're right. It's like
I
not
really
even
do
the
want to
fun cult.
fuck Allison Mack. I don't. It's just something about, you know, the fact that she was a crazy sex cult woman.
Well, I heard
that
she
she's
puts
gotta be
out-
nuts. That's what I mean. She's got to be nuts.
Weren't they using her as bait for the cult, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
send her-
She was into it, man.
Yeah, and she liked it. It was weird. Like he would tell her that she was second in command.
Bro, she's into some sick shit. I bet, as long as it's not like illegal, gross stuff.
Yeah.
But she's probably into some real fucking wild shit.
Well, yeah. I mean,
She's probably on the spectrum, dude. She's probably exactly my type.
100%.
Amen, brother.
And you could bond over both being in a cult, which is actually really, really great.
Oh, the trauma bond. There is no stronger bond than a trauma bond.
You guys it goes from
So toxic.
crying to fucking to smoking cigarettes to crying again.
And you can apply that to a lot of different things. Like, for instance, let's say you think your chick's leaving you, right? Maybe one night you purposely crash your car, right? She doesn't know you did that, right? But then you bond again. You know?
This sounds very specific.
No, I would never actually do that.
No, he would never respect a woman. Are you insane?
And I would honestly, and I crashed my car enough. I would never purposely have to do it.
No, it always happens by
Wait
mistake.
long enough.
Yeah. Well, try driving sober. So
Sounds so boring.
It's, again, boring again. Merch doesn't want to be bored. Are you still in contact with people that are still in the cult currently?
No, dude. So I don't have contact with hardly any of the people that I grew up in the cult with either, aside from my family. Everyone else, I know there were a couple families that I stayed in contact with for a little while, but those relationships kind of fell apart, especially as I got like deeper into my drug addiction. I do know there was one family that my parents started a home church with, and they had a bunch of smoking hot daughters. So I did keep track of them for a little while, but then they all married off to a bunch of nerds. Oof,
Of course.
bunch of nerd dudes that they got married to.
To be fair,
but
you
as
didn't
far-
you didn't miss much because you got out of the cult. You said when you were like 18, right? 19.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the same way with. I mean, I don't talk to a lot of the faggots I went to high school with either. You know?
Yeah.
So it's not
And
like
most of the chicks
it's not
I
like
went-
your
yeah.
time in the cult doesn't prevent you from that. It's just 20 years goes by and you're like, I have no common interest with this guy anymore. Maybe I could talk about the Jets for 5 minutes.
Yeah, most of the chicks I went to high school with are selling multi-level marketing schemes and like seaweed wraps now.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, the seaweed wraps and the what are the other ones? The leggings.
The legging,
That's
yeah.
the other huge one. Yeah.
Or the ones that used to be hot that wouldn't give you the time of day, and now they're divorced and fat, they're coming back around, and you're like, get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah.
Oh, they always come back.
Get
don't
the
they?
fuck out of my
they do.
face. Beat it.
But yeah, I would love to get in contact with a couple of. I've tried to find. So the two girls that I got in trouble with when I was at the compound in Indianapolis, I've tried to find them. They are absolute ghosts online. I can't find any information about them. It also might be because I have the wrong last name. That could also be part of it. But yeah, I mean, I've had people reach out that also were at that compound. Since I did, the Surviving the Shiny Happy People cult podcast, I've had folks reach out and they don't even know how to get in touch with those people.
which is great, by the way. I watched some of them. But I highly recommend a watch. If look, we're just scratching the surface here. Like, I know you went through a lot of stuff in that, and it's great. And I actually there you go. You said you couldn't find them. Do they make you kind of be off of social media like other places? Because I know other tell you not to be on social media, not to be out there, or how does that go? Are you free to still like have a Facebook and have an Instagram and that and a TikTok and that shit?
I would imagine
So
if it was 20
I
years
know
ago.
a lot of them were on social media,
Right.
Because Facebook had just like kind of started back then, and so some of them were on Facebook, but it was mostly like Bible verses and pictures of them with their family and that sort of thing. So it was more so like an outreach to like how Mormons, when they go on their missions, they use Facebook to reach out to potential proselytizing targets. I think that's primarily what they were using Facebook and social media for. As far as Instagram and TikTok, I have no idea. Certainly not TikTok. I mean, that's obviously a spy app, so we can't be using that. I mean, I would love to get in touch with some of them just to see how they are. Because I remember one of my buddies from when my family still lived in Houston, and we were going to the church where I met the girlfriend that I got in trouble for and sent to rehab. He reached out to me many years later because he'd found me on social media, and he reached out to me just to tell me that he knew I was going to turn into like this complete derelict. Like, as soon as he met me, he like the message that he sent me was, I knew that this was going to be how you turned out, because at that point I was just an insane drug addict playing in bands, just being an absolute terrerest.
I would have been like, yeah, thanks, dude.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah. Congratulations
thanks,
on getting fat and finding an ugly wife. Because that's what happened to him.
The drugs kept me thin. Joke's on you.
But like that's usually how I react to anybody. Like if anybody comes up to me and they're like, "Yeah, congratulations on being a fucking drunk failure piece of shit," I'll be like, "Thanks, bro." Like, because that's the only way to react. Because then they always get really mad. You're like, "Ah, dude, thank you."
Thanks, man. I'm glad you noticed.
I appreciate. Wow. Really appreciate you reaching out like that. That was cool.
Thanks. Do me a favor. Make my chicken McNuggets.
Give me a number 10.
Yeah.
Shut up and make my order. Yeah.
Shut up, Wagey.
My boneless chicken wings are burning. I can smell them.
But yeah, so what made you get into comedy? Because I know you have your special coming out very soon. What made you get into comedy?
Man, I had been a fan of stand-up for a lot. The first album I ever bought was Mitch Hedberg's album.
Fucking love Mitch Hedberg.
And it was I think it was a double CD that I bought. And the reason I bought his album was because I'd heard he was like this out of control drug addict. And I was doing a lot of drugs at the time. So I think this was when I might have been like 19 or 20, maybe 21 at that point. And so I bought that album, listened to it, and I was just like, this is amazing. And I'd watched other stand-up clips before, like back then it was on Stupid Videos and E-Bombs World.
Oh, E-Bombs World,
yeah,
babe. And then
dude.
Break.com. I remember all those places.
Oh, Break.com. Yeah, that was another good one.
Yeah.
So I'd watch these stand-up clips, and I'd always been fascinated by it, but my passion was always music. And so once I decided that, I wasn't going to play in bands anymore, I was kind of looking for something else that I could do. I started making some like sketch videos, But like I said, about 4 years ago, I went to my first stand-up comedy open mic, got on stage, told some jokes. It actually went surprisingly well for someone who'd never been on stage telling jokes before. And that honestly, like getting laughs from a crowd like that, it felt like a fat hit of crack. And I was like, all right, we're gonna do this. This is what I'm doing now.
I mean, that's awesome. And by the way, I fucking love Mitch Hedberg. One of the fucking funniest dudes. So you got into that. You got into comedy. How are you? Well, you're a comic, so you can't be all there. But how are you feeling now, comparatively to how you were, years ago? You feeling like you're hitting your stride now, or?
Oh, dude, yeah. So as far as like with comedy, I'm only 4 years in, but I've had like so many, like some of the coolest opportunities, dude. Like I've gotten to perform with guys like Tim Dillon, Mark Norman, Ed Bassmaster was amazing. Love that dude. I've done a lot of stuff with JP Sears. I'm sure you all know JP.
Yeah.
I've just gotten some really, really cool opportunities, and so it's been like I've gotten a lot of momentum really quick. So I'm super grateful for that. And now getting to do this special, I'm actually recording the special this weekend, and then we're going to edit it super fast turnaround and publish it in like middle of August, I think. Okay. And obviously, dropping it on just streaming platforms, because who goes to Netflix anymore to try to get a deal, No,
dude, but bro, look at fucking Ari Shaffir dropped his on YouTube, his Juice special, which fucking amazing, by the way, killed. It's yeah. I mean, it's like you do your shit on your own, man.
Dude, I feel like Shane Gillis kind of opened the floodgates.
Oh, Shane Gillis.
That's another buddy of mine.
Yeah, we love Shane Gillis. We've had him on the show before, too. As a matter of fact, when we had Shane Gillis on, this is one of my favorite stories that I'll tell people. We had him on, and it had just been recently after SNL fired him, or didn't hire him, basically. And he goes, hey, do you mind if I Skype in on Doug Stanhope's Skype? I'm at his house. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. And he comes on, and they were up all the night before, like, doing drugs, and they were both hungover. And so then I had, like, Doug Stanhope and him just, remember Merce? They were completely hungover on the show.
Oh, God,
Stanhope and Shit Gillis. It was one of my favorite interviews of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
dude,
funny,
Billy,
dude.
That guy is a comedy genius.
He's
just
fucking
so
hilarious.
effortlessly
His skits,
funny,
dude.
Yeah, his sketches are really funny.
Because the stand-up's amazing, don't get me wrong.
But sketches, it's hard to make me laugh at sketch comedy.
ISIS Toyota? Fuck,
ISIS Toyota shit.
Oh, that was great.
Fuck,
the
bro.
speed dating thing. You know which one was really slept on, though? Was the their little, like, militia video.
Yeah.
Like, the militia video that they did. And him, like, basically coming to attention and saluting. That shit cracked me up.
Dude,
I thought that was so fucking funny and so slept on.
They literally filmed a pilot about a fucking tire shop, and it's some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. And if you just told me, like, yo, I don't know, we're just gonna be guys in a tire shop, I'd be like, how is that supposed to be funny? But then if you told me who's in it, I'd be like, all right, that's when I was like, I gotta check this out. It's some of the funniest shit ever.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just two idiots who work in a fucking tire shop.
It's great.
He's so good, man.
His Trump impression or impersonation, whatever you want to call it. I think unrivaled in the industry. Best Trump impersonation by far.
It's, dude, he's...
Our audience is going to get mad at him now, though.
Oh, because Merce is Trump impression. Merce does more the tired Trump.
I used to do the tired Trump, but lately I've been doing the Black Candace Owens, folks. She betrayed me. Talked about the vax. Broke my heart, frankly. Yeah. I got an okay one.
The Black Candace Owens one is where he starts it. I guess that would be how Trump says
Well, yeah, because
you had the hands going at the same time.
Oh, I was, but it's cut off because of the way I'm filmed. I was actually doing it, but it was off camera. But yeah, no, that came from
saw Black Candace Owens. I said, "Wow, she's so black."
Well, that bit came from when we were making fun of the fact that Trump's really like lost steam from the old Trump, and like
the energy.
He doesn't have the energy he has anymore, and he doesn't have like. His nicknames aren't as funny, and he's not as he's just not
he's old. He's
not hitting the mark
man.
like he used to, and he seems kind of passionless. And I'm like, he's running out of shit to say, and it's lazy. And I'm like, when he came up with calling Ron Meatball Ron, and he's like Ron DeSantis Meatball Ron.
Oh, see,
and
I loved that one. I didn't like Ron DeSanctimonious. I thought that one was lazy.
But he's just getting
Meatball Ron.
I just
I
feel
thought
like
that one was like, hey,
he used to be better. And then like I just feel like I was like when Candace Owens questioned him about the vax was when I was like, he's just getting lazy. He's gonna go out on Truth Social and be like, Black Candace Owens, folks. I'm like, because he's like not even realizing that's not necessarily an insult. You're just running out of bad nicknames, dude.
Yeah, man.
It's a good one.
Fucking dude, it is. I honestly think I think the two of the best people doing sketches right now are Shane Gillis and Tim Robinson. Those are two of
oh,
dude. I think You Should Leave has ruined my life because it's so stupid and so fucking hilarious, and I quote it all the time.
That guy is not like.
Well, he's another one that SNL got rid of.
He's not mentally well.
He's another one SNL got rid of. Every time SNL gets rid of somebody, they're fucking awesome. That's what always happens.
I very rarely watch
Robinson.
Oh, go ahead.
My problem with I Think You Should Leave is I find it so funny, and then I'll have a female friend over, and I'll be like, "You gotta watch this."
They hate it.
Women hate it.
So you kick them out.
And then I can't respect them.
Yeah, no, that's true. Honestly, I saw that article that says Tim Robinson broke my boyfriend, and I'm like, that's because all we do is if I know anybody watches it, all we do is just quote it back and forth. Are you sure about that? Are you sure that's not reason why? But all the time.
This all ties into the feminism and the non-binary and the tranny shit. Everybody's trying to be something they're not, and it's look, women aren't funny, and if they're gonna watch Tim Robinson, and most of them aren't gonna laugh because they're not inherently funny, and that's fine.
Let's quote Sarah Silverman.
Listen, I am not saying there are not exceptions to the rule.
There's exceptions.
There are amazingly funny
Patty
women out there.
Harrison.
I don't know a single funny woman who's a functioning woman. They're not functioning as a woman on anything. Most of them are fucking insane, right? Like the women that make me laugh, I'm like, holy shit, yeah, but you're fucking nuts, and your life's a mess. So
I think Amy Schumer's so funny, dude.
You're such a fucking asshole. You know that? One of my favorite Norm Macdonald jokes is like, who's funnier than Sarah Silverman? Except a bunch of dudes.
Dude, she's so unfunny that she married an autistic guy, so she has an excuse for why she doesn't make her husband laugh.
No, Amy Schumer was great when fucking Jesselneck was writing her jokes for her.
Dude, Jesselneck, man, oh man, that guy.
Yeah.
That guy's a genius. That guy's a flat out genius.
Jesselneck's fucking hilarious.
He's also a smug cunt.
He's also
really is. Okay. There's that part. Yeah. Well, I mean,
most geniuses are though.
Joke writing.
I write off comics the minute they start kind of doing the whole these people aren't what they're doing. They shouldn't be allowed to have platforms and stuff. Then I'm like, oh boy, just be funny, please. Don't do
he
that.
did right.
I want to like you, pal.
The reason that got me that pissed us off is when he wrote that whole thing on Big J Okerson and Legion of Skanks. Jesselneck wrote this whole oh, I don't know, these guys are all white supremacists. He had to walk it back later, but there were Big J's fucking what?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
dude?
there's a whole article.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, there was this whole article.
Comedians are awesome until they start sharing their real opinions, and then you're like, just shut the fuck up, dude. Just be funny, dude.
Dude, I do a lot of sketch videos, and I never share my opinion. Most people think I'm this crazy MAGA Republican. And in fact, I'm not. I just love making fun of Joe Biden because it's so easy to do. It's kind of hacky, but it's so easy to do. But I've also made fun of Trump. I've made fun of Andrew.
Dude, look at Ryan Long. He hates all of that shit. He doesn't even pay attention to politics, and he writes some of the best political sketches. Yeah. And people are like, wow, he's right wing, or wow, he's left wing. He's like, no, I'm an idiot. I don't care about that.
You don't like Andrew Tate that he drives a Bugatti in bottled water? Maca.
Okay, so a lot of these cars are rented or leased. So what?
So what?
Immediately with the
you got to do.
Everyone takes their shirt off.
You're stuck. You're stuck in the Matrix. Yeah. All right,
Did you see that that clip from Adam 22 and Lena the Plug on No Jumper?
No, but I saw the other tape Lena made.
Oh, did you? How was it?
I can tell
about this big.
Yeah. If I may, Davey, that's the first time she actually looked like she was enjoying the dick that was going in her.
It was. Woo.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I saw a clip of it. It looked like an old Samsonite commercial.
Oh my god! Like Patrice said, his dick was so big it had an elbow.
Why does it look like a little person's leg? That's crazy. I saw so Adam 22 filmed a video after Lena did her BBC scene, right? Mm-hmm. And he bought her a lime green Lamborghini SUV, right? Mm-hmm. And it was poorly acted, just like all her other videos. But she's saying how much she appreciates it. Oh my God, thank you, babe. He goes in to kiss her. She kisses him, but you can tell he's still going in for the deeper kiss, and she pulls back and turns away. Mm-hmm. Dude, that guy, that video, it broke her.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Maybe he just didn't want to snowball him, but like it's no.
It's more like an avalanche at that point.
Oh,
I know where
come
those lips
on.
have been.
That's an avalanche. That's a good point.
That's a snowbank.
She pulled back from the kiss. She did.
Yeah.
Adam wanted to go in deeper. She pulled back.
Yeah, I mean, look. I think with her, look, we always know her. She's trying to get as much out of this as she can in terms of publicity and this and that, and then she's gonna move on. Like, and to be fair, I'll give Adam 22 credit on this one point, which I don't think he gets a lot of in terms of leaning into it. Like the other day, he was like, he did tweet something that made me laugh. He was, I guess I gotta find a black guy to fuck me so it's fair, which is funny, that's a funny joke. Doesn't matter if you like him or not. That was a very funny joke. And he's made a lot of money off of it and all that stuff too. But
tons of money.
At what cost though? You know what I mean? But then again, he already has face tattoos. Like, I mean, come on. What's he gonna do? Be a short order cook at Waffle House if he's not this?
Hey, whoa! Let's not disrespect the Waffle House. First of all, that's like one of my favorite places. They don't have a lot of them in Texas.
Well, I know you. I know you love it.
Atlanta.
I know you love it. You were a drug addict. Every drug addict goes to Waffle House. It's a thing that's open.
I'm naturally drawn to it. Yeah. But no, I actually like Adam 22 stuff. He kind of. I mean, Soft White Underbelly originally exposed Sharpie to the world. You guys know who Sharpie is?
Yeah.
The pimp guy. Yeah. And now he's on No Jumper, and I love that guy. I love watching that guy's stuff. He is unhinged.
Yeah, dude, everything is unhinged now, though. I mean, is there some of the best stuff now? I think we've gotten kind of past that. We're getting past that over censorship stuff where people are actually being funny again, and it's partly to do with Twitter opening up a bit and being able to be on Rumble and stuff like that, and kind of say, except for like calls to violence, Nick Fuentes. Besides
Who's doing that?
Nick Fuentes was. He did like an entire speech about like, we're gonna have to kill the Jews. I'm like, come on, man. We're telling jokes over here. Relax.
That same thing happened to Theo Vaughn and Roseanne Barr.
Oh God, I saw that. She was clearly joking.
It was so dripping with sarcasm.
Yeah.
And they removed it.
Yeah, that's how they are, dude. I've said this before. We just recently we had like 44K on YouTube, and we'd have had more, but we got demonetized really early on and shadow banned. But we just got kicked off recently. Our channel was like 5-6 years old, Marsh. About 5-6 years they kicked us off, and the last nail in the coffin was for cyberbullying Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not even kidding, Marshall. I'm not even kidding you. I have the email I saved that I'm going to put it on the wall. It was for cyberbullying.
We're not getting a plaque, so we got that.
We're not getting a plaque. With cyberbullying a dead Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, and it was a video that was like 4 years old.
How are you cyberbullying?
I don't remember. I actually found the video because it was up on Rumble. We back everything up there, and I watched it, and I was like, literally, the whole video was just going like, this guy's a fucking pedophile, and he is.
Bro,
yeah.
He already killed himself.
Yeah.
Or no, I mean, he didn't.
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, well, they blame us.
Yeah.
It was an old
Allegedly.
video. So my theory is that they blame us because it was an old video.
It was an old video.
And they're thinking maybe he watched it in jail and we bullied him into killing himself.
Yeah. Well, that's not true. There's no power or cameras in that jail cell. Remember, they told us everything's fine. Don't ask questions.
Honestly, what a flex. If that, I mean, you guys should lean into that.
We killed Jeffrey Epstein. YouTube said it. We
bullied him into taking his own life.
No, let's not do that, because then these fucking corrupt fucks will find a way to take our statement is legally binding, and then like J.P. Morgan Chase will sue us for $1 billion.
Yeah, and they'll take our bank our bank away like they did for Nigel Farage. They just took his bank away.
We make up a funny story and then we get Alex Jones. No thanks.
Yeah, no, fuck.
I've already got enough overhead.
That's one of my favorite guests, Alex Jones. To tell you how our YouTube channel should have not been around. The first time we had Alex Jones on, he's like, "Thank you, boys. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it." He's like, "I know why I'm YouTube. I'm gonna be good." Merch will tell you, 15 minutes in, he was like, "So we have to start killing government officials." I'm like, God damn it, Alex.
Matthew McConaughey's a pedophile cocaine addict.
Yeah, he called Matthew McConaughey a pedophile cocaine addict.
So we're doing this then.
Like, all right, well, all right, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Let's do it.
Might as well. Yeah, sure. Who else?
Oh, shit, we're over time. Jesus Christ. Dude, I just realized. Hey, man, thank you so much for coming on again.
Get the plugs.
Get the plugs out.
Not the Lena the plugs.
No, not the Lena plugs.
Yeah, well, I mean, that too, though. Honestly, hit me up, girl, if you're available. I don't care either. But the
whole thing's on X Hamster if you're looking for it.
Yeah, right.
FYI.
And pretty much all the social media platforms.
Yeah, they're there.
Davey Jax, DAVEYJAX. And then I'm recording my special this weekend, Friday and Saturday. If you want to come, just hit me up.
Dude, let us know when you're down here, man. We're going to fucking hang.
I'll be down there next week. And
Hell yeah.
We're going to get into it in real life.
Fuck
IRL.
yeah.
dude.
Bro, IRL streaming. We're gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna do IP2 stuff.
I'll get the
Scream at
Bluetooth
bombs.
speaker. I'll get a bunch of
Can you
a
imagine?
bunch of N-words playing on the
No,
thing.
no, we're not those streamers. We're not those streamers.
What?
We're just no. What he meant was we're just gonna play Eddie Murphy's first album.
Yeah, we're just gonna play Raw.
I'm
We're gonna play
Jewish,
Raw.
so
No,
I'll be
do
your
the
baked
leather special,
Alaska.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man, dude. Of course, you come on whenever you want, dude. Everybody loves you, and you're killing it, man. I'm sure your
Hey,
special's
thank
gonna
y'all.
rock. The 4 years, dude, you're fucking awesome. I mean, you're very, very funny. You're a funny dude, man. This is an easy hang. Sometimes I'll be honest with you, I won't name any names, but we have some guests, and it's just like, okay, what else?
I feel podcasting guests on podcasts are real
Very
hit and
rare.
miss, but y'all are so much fun to hang out with. Thank y'all so much.
You guys are you're welcome on whenever you want, man. When you come down here, we'll see you for sure. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Hey, thank y'all.
We really appreciate it, brother. Take it easy. See you later.
Easy.
We got to not have him on anymore because he's too handsome. You know,
Yeah.
he's way too handsome, and it's making us look like fucking shit. He's awesome, man. He's great. Go check him out.